But science, by definition, allows for more than one opinion. Otherwise, you merely have the will of one man, which is the basis of cult.
If it's not in frame, it doesn't exist.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!
I'm funny how? I mean funny like I'm a clown and you lose you?
Where you been?
Drunk.
Wendy, darling, light of my life.
What's your one purpose in life?
To explode, of course.
I like death with sex. How about you, Casey? You like sex with death?
Yeah, so fuck off and die.
I'm not going to start with that. I'm not going to leave that in.
No, we can. Know how we're gonna start this bad boy? We're gonna start with my workout routine. I wake up, I pump, baby. I eat 2 scoops of oatmeal.
You should have been in this movie.
I crack open the egg and I swish it around in my mouth with the raw oatmeal, and I just rip, dude. And then I pick up my 25 dumbbells. And I just,
It looks like it. It looks like it.
Thanks. Did you see that? If you're watching the video, I'm Jesse the Body Ventura. Do you see that bad boy right there? Look at all that.
Yeah, you can definitely use the nickname "the Body" for me too, but it's like more like the corpse. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the bloated corpse.
Yeah, it's like the body, but not in a good way. It's like, yeah, that's where we found the body. You know?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah,
That's
which
me.
you know what, baby? That's you're looking.
That's
excellent.
Jordan the Body Howard, and I'm Levi the Body Robinson. And
I
this,
wish you were more oiled up too.
you can't tell. Oh, I just showered actually right before this, because I was pretty oily from all the pain sweats. Anyway, this is the Cult of Cinema Knowledge podcast. We're talking about movies.
We are.
I'm fine.
We're in it. I know. Yeah, everything's fine.
Everything's good.
You know what we're doing right now? We're talking about action. Just like
Yeah,
friggin', I
you
don't know,
might be
sweat,
wondering
soak,
why we're talking about
fueled action.
the beefcakes and Jesse the Body Ventura and Carl Weathers.
Yeah, dude, and Carl Weathers, I forgot, like, the Carl Weathers I have in my mind is he's still a dashing lad, but it's Arrested Development Carl
Yeah,
Weathers.
this is
so
like-
I don't have quite like
Maybe you get a stew going, yeah.
you have a stew going, like, which is one of the funniest like cameos in the world. But
So good.
that's the picture I have of him. And so when I saw him in this, I kind of forgot that he was like a fucking monster. And I forgot that he had like at least like 80 pounds more muscle than in that. Like, he still looks great in Arrested Development, but in this, I was like, oh,
No, he's
my
a
God,
he's
I
a
forgot.
he's a beefcake. Everyone in this is like definitely looks like they just scooped up a bunch of dudes from the bodybuilder competition and just like, all right.
They were at Muscle Beach and they're like, do you want to be famous?
I know. So
Like-
we didn't say the movie, but you know what we're talking about. We're talking about the Predator,
we're always talking
1987's
about Predator.
The Predator, the OG Predator. I'm curious because you didn't fucking leave a letterbox because we're such procrastinators. You always wait till the last minute, so I have to discover your thoughts and feelings without
I keep you on your toes.
coming in half cocked, you know, and having an anticipation. So,
Well, I didn't see yours either. So,
I did it like 2 days ago.
oh, well, I don't know.
Wait, you don't follow my
didn't see
letterbox like to the T? You're not always checking
didn't-
it to make sure. Like, well, I wonder what Levi's watching.
I didn't see it. I looked at Letterboxd today, but I wasn't looking very hard. Well, yeah, I don't know. What are your first impressions? You want a synopsis?
Real
first?
quick, give
Folks
us
at
a
home need to know.
give us a synopsis that is under 3 minutes.
I will. No, this is actually
This
a really nice
this movie
quick
is
synopsis. Because this like truly does like this follows like a group of like 6 or 7 mercenary marine types that join up with like a CIA operative, and they have to go behind enemy lines to do a rescue mission. It's a nondescript forest. I don't even remember. Do they really get into the details? Doesn't
No,
really matter.
it's just some South American fucking like nondescript.
Yeah. Okay. So you're just going to get like you're just going to do.
They're literally all they say is this is worse than Guam. You know, like
Yeah.
they're
right,
like
right.
fuck
So,
Guam. This made Guam look like a picnic or whatever he says.
oh, that's right. Yeah. Okay. So from literally like 4 minutes of dialogue, you follow these gentlemen in a helicopter. They drop down. They creep up on like a enemy, headquarters type of deal. They just bum rush it, go in, and they fucking annihilate it. They, guns ablazing and all the craziness and explosions. And as this happens, they take a woman hostage, which kind of is whatever.
Well,
but
she's a gorilla, but they just don't kill her because she's a woman.
I know she's a woman. Yeah, right. And they have her like handcuffed. But anyways, they're trying to get to the extraction point because they have a hostage for intel. As they're going to the extraction point, it's like some of the people get picked off, and it's slowly happening where like they're like, this is unhuman, like something, there's a tracker that's with them, and he's like, really wise, and they still use that, which I don't know, man, it's wild actually. I really wanted to look into it, where it's like using like indigenous, like Native American people in war as like trackers. It's like kind of wild how that exists, but in this movie, it's like it's actually not played that like that.
It could,
it's not problematic,
and
it
could have been like a huge caricature, like stereotype, but it's just like it fits.
But it just totally is. Yeah, it's just like that's his specialty.
Yeah.
So, anyways, they're tracking, and he's like, there's something in these woods that are fucked up, and it's not human. And they're all like, no, you're superstitious, dude. You're getting like, what is it like? You're getting like jungle fever or something. Like you're getting jungle madness.
Hey, you can't say that anymore.
I know, yeah.
Don't say jungle fever. Fuck.
But well, in this context.
Wow, I mean, with Carl Weathers, just saying.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Wow, buddy. Right. We're getting doxxed. Yeah. But anyways, they're getting picked off. It's all crazy, and then they like see this like camouflaged just being. It's an extraterrestrial to their eyes, but they don't really know if it's like high tech. What's up with it? And then everyone gets picked off. And then it's down to Arnold Schwarzenegger, the main character Dutch. He's in a one-on-one face-off with him, and he has to cover himself in mud to get away from like this high-tech mask thing that can totally see like infrared. But he like drops his body temperature down. He fights him, and then he goes back to like primitive weapons, and he's using like a bow and arrow and just like a makeshift trap. And then he ends up crushing him, killing him. And then you find out that like this crazy mandibled creature with like, crazy like kind of bug looking alien thing with like
mandible's a great word. He's got like a everyone knows the mouth,
right?
Like,
right. It just like the
it's
mouth
great. The design
like,
is
like,
the design is fucking dope.
The design's amazing, and I'm so glad that they nailed it. But anyways, so you have the reveal, and it's great. There's like a battle, and so but the right when Arnold Schwarzenegger crushes him and thinks that he's got the best of him, he sets his little gauntlet thing, is that whatever that's called, like
sure,
like wrist thing,
yeah,
and he sets it, and it counts down, and boom, a nuclear explosion happens, and then the helicopters that are ready to I know, and then he starts laughing like a human. Like it's cool though,
yeah.
Like you kind of
it's cool, but he does just sound like a guy, like
I know. Well, yeah, they really like. You can tell that they're like planting seeds in this, and they're leaving a lot to like the imagination. But I actually like how they like. This is one of the most flushed out characters in history that's good. That like they didn't like with Alien. I feel like they took the xenomorphs and they just put way too much into it, and it like became kind of like ridiculous. Where with like Predator, it's like each movie they just show a little bit more detail, and you kind of get to know like their whole like
it's still
world.
pretty vague in this. You don't really get the impression until later ones that they're actually there just specifically for sport. His the motivations are fairly ambiguous in this first movie, which is great, and I also like that later it's fleshed out. But like, go listen to our Aliens episode about how that ruined the franchise.
I know, right?
Well, it just started as a cool, ambiguous alien, and then now it's like a whole thing. But
it's a whole thing. Where this movie, like you said, it still keeps it ambiguous, even when like it tries to kind of over-explain some things in the future films.
Yeah.
But anyways, this specific Predator, the 1987's one, it really like is super self-contained, and it's like it's great because it's like movies. It's so rare to have a movie that is like that's no plot at all, no character development period, and like still kind of carry your interest and still be exciting. And like I think like it helps to have some like fucking crazy iconic characters in this, and they're all just at the peak of their prime machoism, and it's like super crazy explosions, and you're kind of like going through this. I don't know, it's weird because it's not as like tense as like Jaws, and it's not as cool as Alien, but it has like kind of the elements there. I love that, like I think you might have mentioned this in your review or comment or something, but I would have loved to seen this in its original, like in theaters. I would have loved to go in this without having any context. Because when I first saw this, I knew what Predator was.
Yeah,
before I saw
same.
the
Yeah,
movie.
same.
So like I knew that like the whole time. I actually thought this movie was boring as fuck the first time I saw it, because like I kept being like, "Where's Predator?" Like I kind of figured, I was like, "Okay, he won't come till
you
later."
Still are. I was actually hugely, I don't want to say hugely disappointed, but kind of so in your synopsis just now, it's a very great synopsis. I'm so proud of you. But one thing that is not that you didn't mention because it's so inconsequential, but I wish it wasn't there, is how the movie opens with the fucking spaceship going to Earth.
Yes.
The Thing style, you know what I mean? And it's just like
the Thing style, it's so frustrating.
I
even in Thing, I'm like, and Invasion of the Body Snatchers is the same thing, where I'm like, oh guys, like it's funny because you don't remember it when you tell the story of these movies. You don't say, and a spaceship showed up right at the beginning to give it away that he's an alien.
Exactly. That's why I was like, why would you incorporate that into your synopsis? You wouldn't. But I found it, I was like, the whole time I was like, if they wouldn't have shown that, the whole like subversion of like, this is an action movie, just kidding, there's something out there, like, is gone. Like, it's like, there's a slight bit of suspense of being like, but for the whole first third of the movie, you're like, so when's it going to get to that alien thing that happened at the beginning? Unless you forget about it, but at which point, if you want the audience to forget about it, then why show it? Like, I think if this movie, and I understand that it's just like, I don't know, studios probably wouldn't want that, but if this movie had the fucking balls to just be like, nothing, like you just think it's totally advertised, marketed as just this another macho action movie, and then like 40 minutes into it, all of a sudden you're like, wait, what the fuck is this vision from, there's like this crazy vision from the woods, like from the jungle, and like, you're like, what's this crazy night vision?
You'd think it would be like a James Bond style tech.
Yeah,
you know,
you think it's like some crazy
movie.
Well, because
like,
you would be more invested in like, oh, okay, the whole like fake psych out story that they do in the first third of it's like, oh, my men, we lied, but it's because my men were actually in here and they went missing and we need to find them and blah 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 and kill this militia group, like that whole like fake out MacGuffin story with the like the rebels or whatever. That would have been more interesting if I wouldn't have been like known there was anything. Like I'd been like, whoa, so what's this like plot? What's this thing? And then it's just like, oh, then there's just this thing in the wood that's like, oh yeah, okay. Like I don't know, like it hit me wrong this time. To be fair, I still really like this movie, but it's like to be fair, I watched it on my phone, and I never do that. But it's because I was laying on the ground and I couldn't figure out how to get anything else to work. So I had to watch it on my phone, and I was like,
you crawled through your home.
I was half drunk and like just trying to watch it on my phone and on the ground. Like,
as like John McClane or whatever his name is, who John McTiernan.
Yeah,
that's how he wanted you to watch it.
Yeah, 1987. He's just like watching it on your cell phone, writhing.
Yeah.
Accurate. Yeah,
it's like that's the home viewing experience.
Get him, Arnold. Get him.
Well, yeah. So I mean, you know, if that viewers at home, I hope that you watch this on a television, so you could get some better semblance of what you were supposed to be experiencing.
Yeah.
But I think that I was captivated by nostalgia, and I was like, this movie should have been a tight 80. Easy. It would have had the exact same impact. It would have. I feel like I didn't need a lot of the like room to breathe that they gave this. Where I'm like, I get it. Like after like, you see the first pilot crash where the helicopter crashed and all the men are skinned, and that's intense. And then like, and that's cool because that gives you like a little like inside, because even before, it's like you kind of forget about the aliens, so you see that, you think like, oh, these militia soldiers are like fucking brutal. They're like really violent. And it's you've got like mysticism of the woods. You don't really know what's in the woods.
You're in the jungle. Maybe you're thinking like fucking cannibal holocaust or something. Like, what is this?
I think they do say cannibals too. I think they mentioned that before. But
I think someone might see that symbolism and think cannibalism. Yeah.
Yeah, if I remember. But anyways, it's like that's kind of just implied. So you're watching this and you're like, oh man, this is gonna be like super sinister on their part, like human. It's gonna be like man versus man, and then you get in and you see them like. It just with ease take over that. I mean, it's pretty like hilarious in a good way. Like it's so fucking brutal. It's so like machoism, and like they just go in and they just murder. I love how they're like, we do it quick and quiet. They just get explosions, just like mow everybody.
I know. But that's the thing. I was like kept waiting because I knew. I was like, none of this matters. Like, and I'm like, let's just let's just get on with it. You know what I mean? Like,
it really is like 40 minutes too long.
It is.
It really like there are so many times where I'm like the third scene where it's just them creeping through the woods. Like, I was like, oh, you've already established this really well. So like we kind of and we know they're being hunted at this point already. So it's like them slowly creeping through the woods. I was like, we really didn't need to do this. I mean, it's like, I guess it would have been kind of rushed if you just kind of killed everybody off in like 12 minutes. But
like, because the tension,
they kind of did that anyways. They would pick one person off, then they waited, and then there was like a group of like 4 that got killed like immediate. And it's like, yeah.
Yeah, and then literally they're like, we're going to get him. And then the fucking, and then the 2 black guys eat it at the same time. Carl Weathers comes around, finds the other guy with his head blown off, and it's like, oh, fuck, and then gets his arm laser beamed off, which is dope, but it is like coming to that point. Yeah, it's like, yeah, like, so like my favorite, I'm skipping ahead, but my favorite part of the movie is when, like, after the village, they kind of know something's off. Like, the audience knows something's up because there's obviously the POV shots. But then there's the part when he comes up to the scout, I forget his name. Dutch is like, what's the problem? And he's like, there's something in those trees over there. And I'm like, that is when this shifted to a horror movie. And that is like the tension. I'm just
when he's like standing there, that was sick, dude. He's like standing there holding his talisman. And like, you just like, you see, and it's like they do what like they do in The Invisible Man, like 2020 Invisible Man, where they frame it where there's like a person standing there, but like there's nothing there, and it's really cool.
It's a great use of like negative space to build tension of being like, because then he's like I can feel it, like I'm the tracker, It's like there's something out there. I can like there's like catching the brushes, like moving weird and stuff, and it's like that tension, and they kind of keep it, but then they do kind of just keep doing the same scene of like, oh, okay, then one guy gets picked off, then they're like, something's up. Let's be creepy. And then, nope, that guy gets picked off. And then, wait, it is there. And then a couple guys get picked off. And that's all fine. I honestly kind of wish the movie was mostly that, but with more of a focus on it instead. You know what I mean? Like, if they could have kept that tension. Because it's like, first act, hardcore machoism, fucking 80s action movie, which is cool. And it's like, I feel like deep down, it's like satirical. But I feel like none of the actors and the director didn't really think of it as a satire. Like, they're just I
think it's just what we've said this before, and I will say it again. This is kind of what it's freaking. It's sincerity. It's like they're doing it. They're doing it like, to their fullest. They're like we're gonna make something silly but make it good. It's like anything that is a parody or satire.
For sure.
If it's like you do it with like conviction, like they're like we're gonna make this like just fucking balls to the wall ridiculous action, and then they're like we're gonna mix this like sci-fi, and I love that. I think that's
love that too.
Idea.
I mean, another movie that came out shortly after this is Terminator, which is kind of a similar vibe where it's like it takes a pre-established like action formula, and then it does subvert it by kind of adding this sci-fi almost horror vibe element to the action, because it's like Terminator's a slasher, and so is this in a way. You know what I mean? This is a slasher. This has all the beats of a slasher movie, right? It's like you gotta go.
This is very monster. I'd give this like I guess slasher actually. No, you're more right.
Well, like a monster works too, but it's definitely like they're getting all picked off. It has all the scenes. It's like then it's like he has to go all fucking crazy to like beat the monster and go like back to these like primal with traps and stuff like that to beat him, and it's pretty dope. You know what I mean? It's like by the time they all die and it's just Dutch again is pretty badass. Like Dutch is cool.
And it's
Arnold's
really,
a horrible.
actually,
he's a horrible actor when he's delivering dialogue, but when he's being like physical and like stuff is pretty dope. Like he pulls that off.
So he pulls it off well. His movement, his use of space is beautiful, and his fighting's amazing. And it's great when like it becomes him. He's like it. I don't know. It becomes like it tracks really well. Like it gets its point across really well with just visual storytelling, where he takes his mask off. And it's like, and
that's when you know it's like this is like the sportsman like nature of it, where he's just like. Right. He's like, let's go hand to hand, bitch. And he's like, all right, motherfucker. And like, he takes his mask off with his mandibles.
Right? I just love when he's like, you're one ugly motherfucker. Like, this has the greatest like one-liners too. It's weird. I'm finding myself I'm surprised in myself for how much I enjoyed this. Like, this isn't like my typical movie.
No,
I get behind.
When we picked the genre of the month, I felt you across state lines audibly groan, like just like this super action movies is like I want to watch First Cow again, which obviously
right. Like First Cow, like May December. I just watched May December, and I'm like,
we got to talk about it. We got to talk about it.
I watched it like 50 more times because it's like
really good.
It's so I just love I love fucking a character drama, like character-driven drama. Like who doesn't love that?
Most people.
But you know what? My uncle who showed me this movie when I was a child.
Yeah.
And it and it blew my mind. I watched this and Terminator 2, and I was just like, like I was like, there's a little nugget deep down inside where it's like, I like to pump iron, baby, dude.
This is cool. I say this all the time when you guys give me shit about liking like some big dumb movie that I'm like, it's like there is space for both in my mind, but it's like this movie Predator is one of those movies that we talk about pretty often that it's just like I really like, but this time watching it I felt all the negatives. And so it kind of took me out of it, but a month from now, I'm only going to remember the positive stuff. You know what I mean? Like the negative stuff does feel sort of nitpicky, and I'm only like this is the movie that exists in your brain where you're like, that was a great hour-long fucking, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like you forget about the boring and like the stuff. Like we haven't even talked about is the woman, because it's so fucking weird.
She's so inconsequential that like at the end, I don't even think she gets like. Does she get a final scene, a final dialogue? She's on the helicopter,
which is insane to me because it's like she is literally.
Why would they pick her up?
They wouldn't.
Would the U.S. government pick her up? That was
just her. Everyone else is dead.
Just her. When he's like, get to the chopper. I'm like, well, that's an amazing line.
They would just shoot her. They would just shoot her. Or they
would have shot her immediately. Or they would have taken her and been like, what'd you do with everybody? We'll keep you, but we're gonna fucking you're not in a good place. Like,
no, we're
why was her? Why would she like she should probably know where like it's like all of her comrades were at that at that camp and they all got fucking eviscerated. She's got to have someone else out there that she could go to. There's no way she'd go to the helicopter. But anyways, that's besides the point, because this is just like there is no plot.
I know.
But it actually doesn't bother me. It's so weird.
No, I agree with you there. I just like I wish that like I'm all for obviously having women in films and action films, but
sure.
Obviously, but this does feel like a token, like let's put a woman in there for maybe like it's not even like a sex appeal, or I'm glad it didn't get rapey because it could have really easily.
It's compassion. It was like it was supposed to be like a daughterly type of deal.
That is true, because it's like, well, that's the thing. It's like we as an audience don't care about a bunch of macho fucking CIA dickheads, but we care about this like fragile woman that's like, tried to shoot Arnold in the back of the head and is only there to be the damsel in distress pretty much constantly.
She's there to give foreign mysticism too of the creature. My mother told me about a creature that the force is alive, which is a sick line.
It's cool.
She's like the force came to life and like ate him.
Suddenly she speaks perfect English, and it's just like she doesn't even have a final. Like she's just not utilized in a way that I think justifies her even being in it. It feels like a weird addition to me. I don't know. Like, if you're gonna have her have one final moment at the end where she saves Dutch, and so it made it worth it. Like that, it's like they bonded over their shared. Like, they were enemies. She tried to shoot him, but now they're both survivors of the Predator, and she had to, like, get one up. Like, you know, she is sort of helpful in a slight way of being like, oh, no, he's right. There is a thing in the woods. I saw its blood, you know. But that's it, you know. And then she just gets picked up by the chopper, and it's the chopper. And
I mean, that's kind of a, you know, don't poke holes in this plot, bud.
I know.
It's airtight. But, I think if anything, it would have been good if she was there for the Predator to be like, well, I'm not going to kill her because she's either tied up or something. I mean, I guess he doesn't do that. But it's like,
Arnold, Dutch
is subtext.
Yeah, Dutch is like, don't grab the gun because he doesn't see you as like a target because you don't have the gun, which is true, but it's a weird thing for him to jump to that conclusion kind of at that point. That definitely feels like is written, but yeah, I don't know. I'm sad we didn't get to see, what's his name, like Joey the Tracker. I'm sad we didn't get to see him die because he was the most badass. He's the one that, like, on the bridge, he's like, rips his shirt off and he's got the knife out and he's like, all right, if you want to go mono Predator, let's fucking go. And then you just hear him screaming off camera. And I'm like, we got to watch this fucking butthole that keeps talking about his girlfriend's big pussy get his spine ripped out, which is awesome. I want to see this guy die a glorious death, and you don't even get to, which is kind of blue-balled me a little bit. But
no, right? You're telling me you can't find a cool way to kill somebody in the jungle, but I know exactly why, because this movie is so cumbersome. Like they had two things going against them. They filmed on location, and it was brutal.
Dude, I kept trying. Okay, I'm glad you looked that up because I kept wondering. I was like, this definitely doesn't look like a set, but it also looks really clean for the jungle. Like, I feel like there's no spiders or animals or anything, but it's just like definitely feels like they found a patch of jungle to film in.
No. It was lit. You remember, what did I tell you? Where did I tell you it was? I want to say Jalisco, maybe?
No, you said,
Mexico?
No, it started with a G.
Right, yeah, Guadalajara. It's like right outside of Guadalajara. It's called Jalisco, Mexico, maybe. I don't know.
Perfect pronunciation.
For anyone out there,
perfect pronunciation.
For anyone out there, any of our Spanish speakers, please come to r/Cult of Cinema Knowledge and post on there and tell us how you really pronounce that. And
our one of our moderators for the Reddit, he would rip you apart because
we don't talk to him. He doesn't. He hasn't been on Reddit in 30 years, but
I know.
Anyways,
every time I pronounce a Spanish word, he tears me to pieces.
Yeah, well, bring it on, buddy. Bring it on.
Oh, he'll never listen to this. We can fucking tell people his home address and social security number, man.
But yeah, well, no, we digress here because it was filmed on location. It's brutal filming conditions. It was like everyone got like, you know, the poopies. Everyone got diarrhea. Everyone was like sweating profusely, like the conditions.
So was that real sweat? I was like, they are blasting these guys with water or something because I'm like, they're just so glistening the whole time.
A lot of it, yeah.
Which
a lot of it was like
you want
practical.
You want glistening muscles though. You know what I mean? You want them to glisten.
Of course you do. Yeah. Right. And they had a lot of KY to go around at the set.
Yeah,
but no, and that's not a euphemism or a joke. That's what they mixed. They mixed the glow sticks and KY jelly together to get the blood.
Oh,
that's how they created his blood.
That's fun.
So they had like big vats of it, but
vats. Jesus.
Yeah, well, you need it, baby.
There's not even. They're just like, why? Okay, we got your vats of fucking predator blood. Yes.
Yeah.
Bring me more goo.
They're stirring it up because they're like they gotta saturate the forest with it.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So that's how they made it. But you got shitty filming conditions. And then you've got a suit that weighs over 200 pounds. So when Peter, Kevin Peter Hall, when he was fully suited up, it was like carrying around 200 pounds. They had to like reinforce some of the trees he was on. They had him he was on this like suspension bungee suit that went around him so that he could move more gracefully to look like natural.
It was, it looked weird, but it kind of worked.
he was weighed down. Like it, the fact that we got the 8 minutes of actual Predator screen time is like
That's impressive,
it's
actually.
immaculate.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Very impressive.
Because
and
like
it actually he fills the whole movie pretty well when he's only on screen for 8 minutes, dude. There's an hour and 40 minutes where he's not there.
Yeah.
Wild.
God, I can't believe that movie's that long.
It's way too long.
It's funny that's not even that long of a movie. It's like under 2 hours, but it was just like
It's just like I don't know. I understand like less is more. I get it.
The movement
exists.
Yeah.
You know, Jaws. There's probably the shark's probably only on in the movie for 3 minutes.
It's
but
not fair to compare this to Jaws. This is a very like Predator is very good. I feel like I've been sort of negative, but I really like it. But it's not Jaws. Jaws is one of the best movies ever made.
I know it's not. It doesn't have the like.
You know how I feel about Jaws. I got a Jaws poster right there.
I know, pal. We go listen to our Jaws episode.
Did we watch Jaws for the podcast? Help me,
Dude,
please.
do you
Help
anything?
me. No.
Do you remember anything? The
I should
Jaws
not be in
directed by
charge of
Quentin
these
Tarantino.
lists. Yeah, Tarantino's Jaws. The shark just like chain smokes cigarettes and
Jason Cigarettes says the N-word as much as he can.
that flipper is always hanging out because we know he's got a flipper fetish.
Yeah, 100%, dude. Yeah, dude, he's always track shot and flip, dude. Loves flippers. Oh, he loves.
I don't remember what we were even talking about. Predator. Talking about Jaws.
We're getting into Predator, and man, I don't. You know, it's like I can't really think anything else that I need to say about Predator. It's so weird.
We're only like 30 minutes in.
I loved it. I thought it was like.
Well, let's take a brief minute then to talk about its legacy. Like its legacy, right? You know, like weirdly enough, I've seen all the movies in this franchise except I forgot there was the 2018 Predator.
That's weird. Didn't they reboot? I thought they rebooted Predator again, and then did they reboot? I thought they rebooted in like 2012.
No, so and then in like 2010, so there's Predator 2 with
Predator 2
Donald Glover in New York,
in like
whatever.
what 90 or something?
Yeah,
91?
yeah, early 90s.
Right.
That one was. I feel like I've seen it, but it's forgettable. Like I remember scenes from it, but it's got some cool stuff. But it like expands on it, and then it's just like I don't think we see another Predator till. Like some cameo stuff, but then like Alien versus Predator.
It is.
The two
it's Alien versus Predator.
Alien versus Predator, both of them, which I've seen. And Requiem's actually pretty dope, just for the violence. It's just because they like the first one was PG-13, and they're like that doesn't work, and then so they made the second one. They overcompensated for the violence, which is cool. But then they did the sort of not a reboot, but I remember it came back. I was pretty excited because I went and saw in theaters in 2010. Predators, where the humans are transported to the predator planet.
Yeah,
to be
then
hunted.
they're hunted.
And it's got Adrian Brody and
Adrian Brody. Okay, I've seen that one.
Yeah,
but then they redid it again, right?
Well, then 2018 there was one that I haven't seen that apparently sucked, but I wanted to see it because it's Shane Black who was in the first one. He's in it. He's the guy who's always talking about his girlfriend's big pussy for some reason. It's like I don't know why.
Oh,
yeah. But he wrote.
Those. A lot of lines in the original Predator were improvised. Like
that makes sense.
The majority of them.
But he, I didn't see that one. I heard it was kind of but I still kind of want to see it because I kind of like Shane Black, even though he's hit and miss. But as a director. But then last year or 2021 they did Prey, which was like the Hulu prequel, right?
Yes.
Which
I really wanted to see that, and I have not.
I want to really watch it again because I was really impressed, and then having. And again, I'm not talking shit about OG Predator, but having rewatched OG Predator, Prey's my favorite. Prey's the best one.
Yeah, and I honestly, I could see that because it's a passion project by somebody, taking over like a franchise.
It's cool, because it's you know what the series is at this point, but it's doing like. Primitive technology, it's like Native Americans in like the late 1800s, and there's like or early 1800s, like there's like some frontiersmen coming and stuff like that. But it's like a different predator. He's got like a slightly different design, and it's like his huntingness is I don't know. The predator itself in Prey is dope, and then the protagonist that goes off against the predator is also dope as fuck. And there's so many cool set pieces. You should watch it. I'm gonna rewatch it.
I mean, it could be. We could almost put that in Horrortober, honestly, if we don't get around to it sooner.
It could. I mean, I want to do like Yeah, we should do like, because this did scratch that itch of like, not just, I felt bad when I was making the polls and stuff. I'm trying to stick, because action's such a vague genre. I'm trying to like stick to certain types of like really hardcore action, you know, best I can. So obviously this week's polls, it's like mostly early 2000, like when they really pumped up the action type vibe. But it's like, I kept wanting to put more like sci-fi action movies, like, but not like the big, I don't know, like more T2, more fucking like, I don't know. I gotta find a way, because I don't know if Horrortober quite works. It could, but I want to find like there's some other way that scratches that itch. This kind of movie is a very specific, like genre wise, is odd, right? Like Predator is kind of odd because it is a action movie.
That's what makes it so impressive to me. I think that's what.
That's
you
what's
add
cool.
Sci-fi into anything, and I'm gonna if like a Portrait of a Lady on Fire had like a spaceship in it, I'd probably be like, oh fuck yeah, okay.
the chick who's getting the abortion, it's just like an alien. Like,
exactly. Yeah, she's like, oh my
Some-
planet from Glorplop is.
if it was a Cthulhu elder god, like that's what I want in Portrait of a Lady on Fire.
right. Yeah, if it was like the Ritual mixed with the Portrait of a Lady on Fire, I'd
Hey,
watch it.
that someone make that movie, please, because honestly.
Yeah, I'd watch it, dude.
But yeah, no, there's got to be a way, because I know we're big more sci-fi nerds, but
I mean, I guess we could just do a sci-fi month.
we should do like a genre bend or something. You know what I mean? Something like takes a genre and like subverts it in a way, because that is kind of the most impressive thing about this movie to me, is the fact, like, my Letterboxd review just said these guys, like a bunch of guys, thought they were in an action movie, but it turns out they're in a horror movie. Because, like, a sci-fi horror movie. Because it's like, then they're like, the ultimate badasses are now being hunted by this fucking crazy foe. Which I just watched. God, I don't know why I was thinking this, but the two of them put together, I watched right before Predator. I watched Godzilla -1. And something about these, like, unstoppable foes that it's just like, how do we defeat this? But it turns out all you need to do is drop a log on him, you know? That's all
I know. Well, that's what I love. And that's how I love how, like, simple that is. And it's kind of funny because it's like, I love how, I mean, Arnold Schwarzenegger in Predator, he fucking, like, he boils it down to the simplicity of, like, if it bleeds, we can kill it. And so, of course, like, a big log is going to, like, it's like, it's so cool because you see Predator is this, like, he has all of these tricks, you know, to his advantage. And he's pretty much an unstoppable killing machine, but yet, like, he's still limited to, like, water damage and fall damage and just like he's still like a natural organic thing.
I know. I like
so
that
it's
he
cool
gets
to see him learn too, like when he sees the spikes, you know, and he's like, oh, this is a trap. Like, you know, I'm not gonna go in there. And he jumps around to the other side, and then it's like, oh, but you didn't know, sir. A log will kill you.
I know. I like that he gets shot. You know, with the chain gun when you know, Jesse Ventura or whatever shoots him,
dude,
and
that
and then
is
he
my
like
favorite scene.
is like killing himself. He's like, they're like, there's something in these woods.
Yeah, no, dude. So like the whole movie, like that's when the movie completely breaks for me. Is when, like, because it's like right before that you're talking about like don't lose your edge, don't lose your cool, and I do love. There's a scene before with like the. Billy's his name, the tracker.
Right,
Billy.
Like,
he straight up he's like the bullets are going in all directions. Like you can tell like these men were spooked and they were just firing
around,
in all directions.
Yeah.
And then you know, like 45 minutes later, we find out that our group, they get the same thing where like he sees it. And I love how he sees it and the eyes flash and he just gets that minigun and he's just like boom.
Yeah. It's just like sweeping across.
It's one of those things where it becomes like a fucking like a South Park excess.
It is.
Like it's just, as they're firing, I'm like, they all get in on it. They all come together.
Yeah.
And I'm like, those are bros being bros. Dude.
I expected like at the end they're like, so
so
what are we shooting at? Like they just like showed up.
Basically, they kind of were like they were like so did you see something? Like they really they had to clarify with
after
them, like,
they unloaded 2 clips. Like
they unloaded like I don't even know someone, dude. Oh my god, that's what I need to do. That's my life's passion. I need to go through and see how many bullets were fired. I'm sure they have to have some count, dude. It's like there's some script soup out there that's like they fired 460,000 rounds or something. Because dude, that minigun was like blasting. And do you know what's awesome? That minigun was an actual like I don't know Black Hawk helicopter or some shit, some tactical war helicopter minigun that was mounted on a helicopter, and they had to take it off and modify it so it would fire like misfire, so it would fire like 3 rounds instead of like the full each round every time, so you could see it, so they could capture the
because it's just like too fast. Yeah,
it's like because it's like if you see those guns, they like
it's like a laser.
Like,
yeah,
they liquefy whatever is in front of them.
Yeah.
And so like in this, they had to like modify it, and they were literally like pissing blanks. Like they were wasting so many blanks in this movie. It's kind of funny because I like admire
on location in the jungle too. It's like fuck, we gotta ship in more blanks.
I mean that's like
we could crates of blanks.
Well, you don't want to you don't want to get into like the footprint that we left behind. That's like awful, but whatever.
No.
You could go back now. It's a tourist destination now.
You could still find a blank patch where they just shot all the trees down.
Well, dude, you can go and you can like metal detect through and find blank shells and stuff from the movie.
It's
fun. Like they dispense so much. It's bonkers, and it's so sick how like every single explosion is practical except for like clearly the alien nuclear explosion at the end, but that's all practical explosions until they cut away to the wide shot, and it's like the mushroom cloud going, and that's composite. But it's like cool how it's like it's fun to watch old movies like this and see that they're really like blowing shit up. Like it takes them like a week to get this to map it out and get it all ready, and it takes them like a whole night to set it up, and it's wild. Like they were going through and like setting up detonations throughout the forest for like weeks.
That's fun.
For this.
You know what I love? I love that period in the 80s when every time they like kind of figured it out how to draw the electricity. You know what I mean? So it's like the electricity effect that's like as it's about, they're like fucking dude, it's 1987, we got that high tech down, and so they got the electricity coming off the bomb and stuff, and it's like now but it still looks, it's got a charm to it. Like every time I see that old school drawn on electricity that was like in every fucking movie that had any type of weird shit going on in it in the 80s, I'm like, yeah, all right. I'm into that. I mean, I like it.
No, I love it. I mean, it's like, dude, it's like Big Trouble in Little China's got it. Fucking, I love all the effects in that, and I love like we did go listen to Back to the Future, because it's like that is what that's the first thing that comes to mind. But all the effects of him are they're so beautiful. They're so sick, and it's like I didn't find out what exactly I would imagine that like the effect. I mean, it's pretty common knowledge right now, and for everyone out there in podcast land, if you don't know how they shot that effect to get him the camouflage effect in the woods was a giant red suit that would be like, it's the opposite of green. So you'd shoot this really, really vibrant, bright red suit against the green forest background, green lush woods, and you could chroma key and take that whole thing out. So they would shoot two. You'd shoot a blank without the suit, then you'd shoot the suit running through doing the action, and then you could just take that suit out and just put an effect over it. Yeah. And it would totally just fill it in. It was super simple, honestly, to do it.
It's kind of awkward, but it's cool. It's got a vibe though, you know what I mean? Like
it really hasn't aged because it's practical. Like it's so weird. Like it's an in-camera trick basically. And so it doesn't age because
I do miss when it's like special effects. That's exactly like what we were saying with the lightning. Special effects in the 80s, especially. I mean, for the longest time, it always. I mean, since the dawn of film was compositing. Yeah, chroma key. So chroma key and
been around since the 80s. So
the whole reason
since the 1880s.
Yeah, because the whole reason for doing it, is so you can take out a piece of film and add something else in, and so it's just like keying and like having like a matte painting over a piece of film, like that has been the standard. And obviously by the time we got to the end, when we got to the computer age in like the 90s, when we started having more like computer effects and stuff, but it's like look at this movie, how they do the keying. Like they got it down to like a really simple math, and like The Thing, where it's like they got the chroma key for like the they got the matte painting of like the ship and the ice and everything. It's like they got it down, and that I think that is a special charm of the 80s, because that was like the bygone of that type of effect that it's just like every time. There was a movie recently I saw where I was like, oh, they just straight up that's compositing.
Yeah.
Like they just straight up did compositing instead of doing like computer generated images, CGI that everyone knows now. But I'm like, oh, I appreciate, because they could have just done it with CGI, but I'm like, oh, that's just like old school compositing how they did that shot. And I'm like, that's fun to notice, because you don't really see that as much anymore, except for on like lower budget stuff kind of. But it's like, that's what I think, that's the thing about the 80s, that it's just like, it's got that charm when they really have 100 years worth of experience with these type of effects. And so they really got them down to like distilled to their kind of simple, they're like simplest. No. I know I shouldn't have moved. I didn't weld to the chair, but like the distilled to the simplest form. Like they got the red in the forest in the jungle. It's genius. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't know. That is definitely an instance of like, they don't do it like they used to, sort of.
Exactly.
You know
and that's,
and
it's like, it's the simplicity of it. Like, it's like, I don't know. I feel like we went through, there were so many growing pains from like the 90s and early 2000s where it's like, we've now gotten to where CG is not even like, it's like, I mean, either I'm desensitized to it or it's gotten so integrated and it's done so well that now like things are CG and I'm almost like, it's just like, I'm like, okay, that's fine. Like, it's actually kind of hard to even tell half the time if it's practical or CG anymore for like a lot of effects.
And if used correctly, I mean, like, look at Fincher. You know, Fincher's the guy for that. Right. You know,
and we always say that. And God, there was something the other day, and I think it might have been like Killers of the Flower Moon or something, where like there was a lot of CG in that I noticed, but I was like, oh, it's just like, but it's just it's like, I don't know, it's used like that.
It's used like matte paintings almost, like because Killers of the Flower Moon did have quite a bit, but it was usually like for establishing shots and stuff.
Yeah, and it gets to the point now where I'm like, oh yeah, I guess it's like it's always been like that, where it's like the effect, if it can heighten the story and it progresses it, then I love it and it feels great.
Yeah,
and that's how this movie was. I mean, I think that like the effects they have like a look and it's great. It doesn't look dated and silly and like gross. Like the thing I don't know if I've mentioned it before on this podcast, but my God, dude, do you remember the end of Spawn when they go to hell? That is some of the worst. That's like the Unreal Engine that they used to. Like,
they wish, yeah.
They're fucking awful, dude.
That's why I'm like, sometimes it's really bad, and it didn't start being like, it wasn't until, now we're just talking about special effects a little bit, but it wasn't until Jurassic Park that people were like, oh,
yeah,
that's the future. Like, you know, like people were getting it before that, but it wasn't until then that they're like, holy shit. Like,
because Lucas Arts came through and like whatever, like Lucas Studios was like we're gonna literally take every single like kilobyte that exists.
Yeah,
we're gonna
literally
plug it into a computer and like just
And as great as that was, I'll still always be heartbroken that Phil Tippett didn't get to actually do the puppet dinosaurs like he was gonna.
I know. Dude, no, don't even get me started. Like,
go listen.
Animation will always be the best.
That's the OG. Like, bring back. I don't know. Now we sound like a bunch of old men just yelling at CG. We're like, we want matte paintings and stop motion animation in every movie. Like,
well, I mean,
but honestly,
really, though, I do. But it's like, yeah, but it's like, I also like, it's just because it's like, I love the craft of stop animation, and I wish like, if more people
it's still practical when it's a physical thing, you know? Like,
yeah, it is. It's still practical. It's like, look at it's like, I don't know, Blade Runner looks amazing because it's a literal painting. Like, it's literally there. It exists, but you know. I don't know. I mean, that's
go listen to our Mad God episode. We'll rant about Phil Tippett and stop motion. Go listen to the Blade Runner episode.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I'm just trying to prove that I remember the movies.
Okay,
I remember.
Yeah, you got all the movies down.
Okay. Anyway, what's the? I got a couple Reddits. You tell me the budgets and stuff. Tell me the money. Give me the money.
Tell you the money minute. I do want to direct everyone real quick, though, in podcast land. Go to r/coldest of knowledge and look at the video I posted. It's amazing, and it totally breaks down the original costume and the original idea, and you will actually be impressed with what they ended up with, because the original fucking Predator costume is so ridiculous. It cracks me up every time, dude. But anyways, so, yeah, go there, subscribe.
Thank you.
Great.
Yeah, please.
But for this movie, we're talking money here, and it's like they're all well established. It was a $15 million budget. That seems legit for the fact that they flew everybody out together, got a hotel, and it was like shenanigans ensued, and like they had a really fun time working on this together. You know, all these meatheads were like waking up at 4 a.m. to go just like, you know, pump iguanas out there in the forest. But it cost $15 million and they made $100 million back. It's like 98.
Wow, yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah,
that's really good.
I mean, they did just fine for themselves.
Yeah, 15 million's actually, like, all things considered, on location and like in the jungle, which is not that cheap.
But I think that did help.
It did help because sets would have been worse.
Anywhere you wanted in the jungle. You know, he's like, you just got, like, I don't even know if they had to get permits for that. I mean, I don't, you know, who the hell knows what.
They probably just maybe told the government, like, hey, can we film here? And they're like, I guess.
They might be like, there's going to be, I guarantee they like softened it and we're like, there's going to be some pyrotechnics, and then it's like leveled half of that.
International superstar Conan the Barbarian is going to be here, you know?
I know, really though. Yeah.
Dude, I want to do a sword and sorcery month. Honestly.
Oh, that's fun. That's a cute idea.
Anyway, sorry, I said Conan and it made me think of that. Okay. That's a pretty big turnaround. That makes sense. I'm actually surprised. Like, I don't know. There are a lot, but it's like I'm surprised they've never really, until Prey kind of, like Prey was well received, but it's like they've never really got the mojo. But I guess sequels are hard.
Swear,
but
there are more Terminators, right, than there are.
Oh, yeah, don't get me started on all the Terminator sequels, dude. God damn.
There has to be.
Terminator is like the most butchered franchise.
I know. Well, yeah, yeah.
Have you seen some of the recent Terminators? They're awful.
I'll never probably. I saw the first 3, and that's all I need.
Oh yeah, the third one ends on a perfect note. No matter the third, the newer ones make the third one look like a fucking masterpiece.
Can I just say something real quick? I was like surprisingly tickled pink when they said, they're like, don't you understand, man? We're expendables. We're the expendables.
Yeah.
And like, we could be killed. And then I was like, oh my God, that's so fucking cool that like all these you know, macho meathead dudes got together. And I didn't know Stallone directed the Expendables. That's amazing. Like, I don't know why I'm like, now I'm like super excited. Did he do like the sequels and stuff? I'm like, I'm getting into this. Is my new franchise, man.
It's the Expendables.
The Expendables. Well, because it
is like a version of this without the sci-fi aspect, which would have been cooler.
But it's the like, let's get all of these guys in the same room and like, you know, do something together, which is super fun. I mean, that's basically what Predator did, was get a lot of the like big
the big wrestlers and stuff. I need to say real quick, I need to defend myself from you, sir. I pulled up the Reddit to look at the comments, and I saw the comment that you made on my comment, and being like, it was never clever or subtle. We just spent the last hour talking about how clever it was of them subverting genres and stuff. That's what I'm talking about, though. That's what I'm talking. It was in my mind, in the history, because I've seen this movie as a kid, and then I watched it again when I was like 15. That's probably the last time I saw it. So I remember it being like, oh, this is cool because they're like dropped in. It's this action thing, and it's like this subtle, almost like not subtle in what it is doing, but subtle in like it's like a satire, right? Where it's just like these crazy over the top, like they have these big macho lines, but then it becomes like this other crazy kind of like sci-fi stock 'em up thing, which that's the uniqueness of it, right? That's what I meant by subtle and clever. I wasn't like, I thought this movie had clever jokes. Like I yelled into her pussy and it echoed. Like,
I know, right?
Like,
yeah.
They were like, oh, that's what I came for. It's the writing.
I actually was impressed that like nobody like, everyone was like frustrated with the machoism, and I really actually respect that. Like when the dude's having the chewing tobacco and he spits it on Colorweather's foot, you know, and he's just like, I can't remember what he says. He's like, you got a disgusting habit. Like, you know, just like they're like tough at each other, you know, they're all like doing this posturing and stuff, but like nobody's going into it. Like when he makes the like grotesque jokes, nobody's like, oh, you're so funny. Like, I don't know, everyone just kind of like stares at him and like, you know, kind of lets him.
Whatever. Like, there's the whole bit where fucking Joey or Billy or whatever literally is like uncontrolling laughter at the echo in the pussy joke. And the Predator even picks up on it.
Does he laugh? Oh, well, the other dude doesn't laugh.
You're right, though. And I like, because there's so many routes for like the hardcore, super masculine, like it didn't, like, it did drop an F-bomb and not the fuck word earlier on, but it's the 80s. But, like, it didn't get rapey like it could have. It didn't get, like, I thought he was going to be like, oh, he's a racist. That's why he spit it on. But then he's, like, best friends with the other black guy. So I'm like, there's a lot of ways it could have went that it
Did
didn't.
it on purpose.
Yeah.
I think that's what I liked about it.
That's
like,
the subtle
like,
cleverness
that is
I'm
where-
talking about, where it's
I
like
think
that's where it feels satirical in the way that they're just like these caricatures that are like,
right.
we're the badass, and then they're like, oh fuck, now the macho, the biggest baddest fucking dudes you've ever seen, that you and I would immediately just get fucking, mowed down from.
Turned on. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's what I meant.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
There's a certain kind of fever
Wrestle me to the
involved.
So when I watched this at the end, I was like, oh dude, they're gonna wrestle like the Greeks. They're gonna wrestle naked. Watch them.
Him and the Predator, that's the one. That takes real balls if that's how it ends.
Yeah,
it's just
dude.
Arnold and the Predator end up accidentally fucking
just
to
in the
prove
box.
his dominance to the other.
Okay, no, I'm not talking. We don't need to make it like
Welcome to Earth.
It's not a parody. Yeah, Will Smith would show up too, dude. That'd be pretty fun.
Yeah, this is a little early for Will Smith.
Will Smith did fucking Alien, right? In that one movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I mean, I think he fucked an alien in real life. So, I swear to God, I'm in a horrible pain, and you would think that I'm losing it from like painkillers, and I'm so sober, and it's unfortunate. I wish I wasn't.
I know this is. Hey kids, this is your brain out there without any stimulants.
I know. I need to be medicated. So here's a couple Reddits for you, and then we're done. So Remarkable T0 says, this movie is nearly perfect for me. I love the buildup of the first reveal of the Predator. The movie shows us how awesome Dutch and his guys are with the camp raid. They effortlessly defeat a superior force and catch the Predator's attention. It also noticeably has the most future governors in its cast, Arnold and Ventura, which is fun.
That is really fun. I like how
that.
like the foes that they take on are like they don't really demonstrate any. I love the comment and thank you, but I just think it's funny because they like, I thought that there'd be more tension in that raid, but they like decimate.
No.
But I just love it how they come in and like there wasn't a single thought in my mind that they weren't gonna get out all alive.
No.
Like, I didn't
He literally
think there was gonna be anything wrong. Like the second he goes and then he just stabs him, and then it's just
yeah. He even makes it easier by being like, whoa, everyone hold on. I'm going to send this truck full of explosives and kill like 15 guys.
Yeah, and like a guy gets into the truck, and I'm like, what is? I don't know. Everyone's like exploding, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah. That's when I was.
Beautiful, though.
That's when I was feeling okay, this is like. I was like laughing because I'm like, okay, this is like. I can't tell because it's like it's funny because it's like. I feel like the filmmakers crafted it to be that way, but I feel like the actors did not. Like they did not realize that it was like a joke. They're just like, "Fuck yeah, we're badass, bro!" Like, yeah, give me some creatine.
I know, dude.
So I almost read I said, "Leave 72 says." That's my comment. Clones are People too says, my first watch of this, and I really liked it. I can't believe I hadn't seen this sooner. This is such a great 80s action film with over-the-top machoism and an iconic badass villain. Lots of great one-liners, my favorite being, I ain't got time to bleed. And a recognizable Silvestri score. Oh, yeah, we didn't even talk about the score. The score was dope.
Oh,
the score
was goofy, in my opinion.
It was kind of like...
The ending was amazing.
Yeah.
The battle scene between them,
it's cool.
That was beautiful. But like them like tiptoeing through the woods, and it's just like it's like fucking Leave It to Beaver. It was like bonk, 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 bonk.
I know.
As they're walking
Well,
through,
the opening,
I
the
was
like dun, 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 bah, like the really intense like percussion with like the really loud swells in the beginning. I was like immediately like It goes on to say, knowing how iconic Predator has become, I'd love to have seen this blind. It would have been great to go into this expecting a Vietnam War film, only to have Arnie go up against a ruthless killing alien. I'll definitely revisit this, 8 out of 10. Hell yeah. That's nice, because this is one of those movies, like, we've obviously seen it, but I feel like even if we haven't seen it, it would be one of the movies where it's like, I feel like I've seen this, because it's so baked in. Which is why I wish more movies would subvert genres, which is why I really love this. And I hate the alien bit at the beginning because of it. Because it's like, I can't tell you how many times I'll be watching like a rom-com or something with my wife, and I'm like, I wish that in the last like half hour, this would just take a fucking 180-degree turn, and the guy accidentally kills a prostitute or something, like something crazy, and it just turns into a totally different genre. And I think that's why I love Sunshine so much. You know what I mean? It's like people get mad about that, like the switch, but it's so good. Sunshine rules.
I agree. I was just thinking, I'm like, do you know what's crazy? Like, I'm trying to think of great movies, and Cowboys vs. Aliens is not an example of a great movie doing that, but it's such a frustrating tactic though, where they're like the studios. It just goes to show studios. I understand. Oh my God, I understand.
John Favreau's best movie.
You want to make as much money as possible, so you literally have to cast a wide ass net, and you're like, but it's like it's this crazy like. It sucks because I know it's always a balance between like art and integrity and making money and making your profit and all that shit. And it's like, and it's a movie, so it takes hundreds of people to make. But I wish that like they would do that more often, where it's like Cowboys versus Aliens would just come out as like a cowboy. It would be advertised and 100% completely marketed as a cowboy movie. And then when you go see it, it's like, it's like, and if we just did that more often, it would be less of like a gut punch. Like, because I have a feeling that's why a lot of people hated Sunshine. It's because they were like, what the fuck happened at the end? It's not what I wanted. It's not like a sci-fi movie anymore. It's like, it's not a survival movie. It becomes like a horror survival.
It's got horror elements that are added, and I think that's great. You know what I mean? Like, and I honestly think, because I had forgotten about, because it's 2 seconds, it's, like it's 20 seconds or whatever of the alien ship landing. And if that wouldn't have been in it, like, I would have had, like, it would have been, like, I just couldn't forget about it. But I did forget about it 10 years after watching it. I forgot that was even there. But same with The Thing, because you're like, what is The Thing? What is going on? But the whole time you're like, whatever, we saw that fucking spaceship crash at the beginning of the movie. Like, I know it's an alien under the ice or whatever. Which I wish movies didn't have to do that as much.
But I think with The Thing, though, it works because it's like, it becomes an alien, and then it becomes like a mystery because you're like, oh, well, this takes over.
I think sometimes
in your blood.
Well, sometimes it really works because I mean, look at we were talking about last month. Coming back to fucking First Cow, we'll never stop talking about that movie. But it's like it set up the expectations at the beginning with like this kind of weird thing. So there's this impending sense of doom throughout, and it's like I think that movie was better for it. For having that, like if that wasn't in there, you know what I mean?
But was First Cow the greatest movie you've ever seen or what?
Honestly,
I'm taking all my posters down and I'm putting a First Cow.
I'm just gonna get a cow in here. Anyway, all right, we're done.
I know. We're fine. Thanks for bearing with us, everybody. We love you.
Thanks to everyone on the Reddit. Please come and comment. And if you have a movie that you want to watch, just come say on the fucking Reddit. And I'll probably add it to a poll and we'll see what's up. So, come
join us. Be part of the film club. And if you'd like to support us more, come to our Patreon. We've got a fun sticker of the month club. We've got some other goodies and doodads, and you get a little mystery prize bag if you give the highest donation a month. So we love you guys.
For
all of our patrons that exist, beautiful.
For you, Jordan. I put Crank on the poll, and you didn't even vote for it.
No, I didn't.
Crank got 0 votes.
Well, it's because I haven't seen Crank, but I've never seen Face Off, and so I was like, oh, I should rectify that. And then it didn't even come close to winning.
Yeah, it's close.
Pissed. I know it's close, but
it only lost by 1.
I did not think Smoking Aces was going to win.
I was kind of surprised.
It was the last movie. I thought Running Scared was going to win. But
I voted for Smoking Aces, but it's just because it was between that and Face Off for me. And I was like, I didn't think Smoking Aces was going to win. And you know me, I've seen all these movies, so I was like, I'll go for the underdog, sort of. And I've seen Smoking Aces the least amount of times. I've only seen it once, where I've seen all the other ones like a couple times. And
that's crazy. Yeah.
Have you seen Smoking Aces?
Of course, yeah. I've seen it. I've seen it at least twice. It was playing in theater. Oh no, I wasn't working in theaters then. But
well, fuck it.
I saw it.
Fuck it then. Let's watch Face Off instead.
I mean, I'll watch Face Off.
We'll see. Smoking Aces won because of my vote, and if I would have voted for Face Off would have won. There was one difference. So we'll talk about it off air. We might be
We'll play it
watching
as a
Face
five.
Off or see. Well, we'll see.
I would love to watch the pieces again. Hey.
All right. Goodbye.
Hey.
How do I work this program?
Oh, dude, you just hit the big stop button.
Okay. Bye.